Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're diving into the newly released Blue Beetle movie. I'm thrilled to say that it's actually good, and as a longtime DC fan, it's a relief to see them actually make a pretty good movie, as we've had some not so great ones recently. I was introduced to Blue Beetle as a kid with the Batman Brave and the Bold show, and have loved every appearance he's had since then. I'm honestly shocked and extremely happy that Blue Beetle even got his own movie. Because usually in a lot of adaptations for shows and films, well, I guess we really haven't gotten any films, but for at least like shows, a lot of these characters that are younger don't get their own projects. They just get looped into Young Justice or a Teen Titans and stuff. So it's nice to see that he actually got to have his own project, because these characters are big enough to have it. And honestly, it's shocking that he did even more so, because a character like Robin hasn't even gotten his own film, who is the most famous younger superhero next to Spider-Man, you know? So I'm very happy to see that Blue Beetle actually got to have his own film. Before we delve deeper, let's discuss a few changes from the comic source material. Warning, there's some extremely minor spoilers here, just relating to what characters are or are not in the film. And with the film shifts Jaime Reyes' hometown from El Paso to Palmera City, a pretty new location. Interestingly, as of this year's comic run of Blue Beetle, comics version of Blue Beetle is now living in Palmera City as well. Whether the city originated in the movies or comics is a mystery to me, but it's great to see fictional cities with distinct personalities with DC, and Palmera City is very distinct and has a great aesthetic that I really enjoy for the film. Another notable alteration is Jaime's age. He's just out of college in the film, which also aligns with the current comics storyline. This tweak changes his journey as he receives the SCARAB much later in life compared to the comics, while some familiar characters are missing, like Jaime's friends from the comics. There's potential for their introduction in a sequel. Given the film's focus on his family, it makes sense that they took this approach, though I'd love to see them in a sequel. There's been a few really weird complaints with this film since before the film even released, with the trailers specifically relating to George Lopez's character, which I really shouldn't even have to talk about. It was a fine character. I didn't hate it. I don't know why anyone would, but because he said in the trailer, Batman is a fascist. I don't know. This is a stupid complaint. I mean, this same thing happened with the Peacemaker show, because people assume that since a character in a DC thing said that means that DC thinks that that is correct, which is not true, because guess what? Characters can have separate opinions, and very much so in this film, George Lopez's character is a conspiracy theorist, and this is very much so played as a joke, so I don't know why anyone would complain about that. Let's talk design. I initially was worried about Blue Beetle's lack of a mouth, but the filmmakers managed to incorporate a subtle mouth-like feature that's most noticeable when he speaks. The helmet and mask is also very expressive with its eyes as well, and it's a reminder of how adaptations can creatively use these visual elements from the comics, like how they did with Deadpool and the MCU Spider-Man films. The film's primary focus is on the hero and his family rather than the villains. Carapax, while slightly different from the comics, boasts a cool design that mirrors the source material. He's given a more sympathetic story, and the whole archaeology stuff is completely removed from the film. Still, the film's true strength lies in its portrayal of Jaime's family. Their dynamics are well crafted and likable, adding an emotional layer to the narrative. There's also another villain, Victoria Cord. She was alright, nothing crazy, but she was about what I expected from the film. She's also a pretty recent addition to the comics, having appeared in the most recent ones. Seeing Jaime's abilities on the big screen is a treat, especially with what I believe to be some moves directly from Injustice 2. Let me know if y'all noticed that. I don't know if that's just me looking into stuff too much, but I could have sworn there was some stuff that was directly the exact same movement. The CGI, unlike some past DC films, cough cough flash, holds up really well. Though there are a few iffy parts, overall the film strikes a balance between emotional moments and a lot of action. Fight scenes are actually really good in this film. All said and done, Blue Beetle has a lot of heart and humor, and offers an excellent cinematic experience. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd comfortably rate it an 8.5 with room for growth and potential sequels. Now, if you've seen the film, let's venture into spoiler territory. The film portrays Ted Kord as deceased while his daughter plays a significant role. However, in a post-credit scene, we learn that Ted is alive somewhere. This raises a lot of possibilities, him disappearing after the death of his wife makes me think he maybe is or was attempting to bring her back using time travel, possibly related to a future Booster Gold show we already know about being in production. Anyways, Hajida, which if you don't know is the name of Blue Beetle's SCARAB, it's not perfect in this film. I don't like what voice they chose for it. It's way too much just Siri or Alexa. Speaking of, hey Siri, hey Alexa. There we go. Now that we've activated your stuff. I think that's funny. I wanted to do that. Anyways, I don't think it's great. I definitely think that could be improved upon in the sequel. It kind of feels like they just didn't really want to play into it at all. But I'm hoping that if there is a sequel, that they actually expand upon it, because basically it didn't really fight him much. But hopefully once the Reach get involved, you know, that kind of stuff, it will be more like how you'd expect it to be. You know, there was a really great storyline with Blue Beetle in the Young Justice show, which also is partially from the comics. It's kind of also its own thing. But I'd really love to see something more akin to that in a sequel, especially with how their relationship is in that. Plus the fact that, I don't know, I really love the dynamic of Blue Beetle, you know, always wanting to do good and, you know, not hurt people, and having to basically argue with the SCARAB a lot, which we did get to see a tiny little bit, but then the SCARAB seemed to listen pretty easily. He didn't really have to argue a lot, but I hope that hopefully this gets improved upon in a sequel or whenever he shows up in the future, because even if this isn't going to get a sequel, he's definitely going to show up in something, whether it be Teen Titans, Justice League, a Batman movie. I don't know. I really am excited to see the future of Blue Beetle. I really hope that we get sequels to this, especially with other Beetles and the Reach showing up, and maybe some more stuff from Ted Kord's era as Blue Beetle, maybe even some Dan Garrett stuff. I don't know. But before we wrap up, I urge you to watch this movie in theaters. It's a great movie that deserves a sequel, and it's definitely worth seeing in theaters. So I will 100% blame everybody who watches this video. If this film does not get a sequel, I will blame every single one of you for not going and seeing it. Because this film is good. And I really like Blue Beetle as a character, and I really want this film to get a sequel. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.